Message of the day: when sowing the seed, don't forget to water. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6, it says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then neither he who plants is anything, nor he who waters, but God who gives the increase. Now he who plants and he who waters are one, and each one will receive his own reward according to his own labor. So good. Let this be your sign. Let this be your sign to realize that planting the seed is just the first step. Planting the seed is just the first step. It doesn't matter if we're speaking physically, it doesn't matter if we're speaking spiritually, it doesn't matter if we're just talking about doing the thing that you know, getting started, doing the thing that you know that God has put on your heart, doing the thing that you know that you want to do. And you've been idle in doing it, right? Without planting the seed, there can neither be growth nor harvest. So if you don't start, if you don't plant the seed, you can't get the fruits of the labor, nor can you even see it begin to grow. Planting the seed is the first instruction. It is the requirement, but for it to even begin to grow, for it to be able to sprout, to eventually lead up to a harvest, to eventually lead up to a reward, you can't forget to water. You can't forget to nourish it. You can't forget to give it everything that it needs. Understand though this is the power in this verse. Paul knows this. And he's saying, though there is a planter and though there is one who waters, it is God. It is God who makes it grow. It is God who gives it the increase. It is God who makes it and allows it to produce fruit. But only when his hands are in it. Only when God has called you to do such a thing. Because the truth of it is that God won't bless who you're pretending to be. He only bless who he intended you to be. God won't bless who you're pretending to be. He will only bless who he's intended you to be. God is not one who just blesses people mess. So you can't just sow a seed and then say, God, can you make this grow, if God never told you to sow it in the first place? And I'm not saying this I'm not saying this in the way that God is incapable, but rather it's not in his character to bless anything that could potentially hurt you, that could potentially hinder you. And it's a lot of us that are standing in malnourished gardens. It's a lot of us that are standing in unfertile soil, asking God to bless seeds that we have been sowing into places and spaces that we were never called to sow. So not only am I telling you, let this be your sign to sow a seed, let this be your sign to remember to water it, but also go to fertile soil. Go to and do the things that God has called you to do. And when you realize this, if this isn't your first time ever seeing a video of mine, when you realize this, you can look at every other video that's been created and they all talk to each other, because I'm just speaking his truth, which is the ultimate one. Jesus even tells us that he is the vine and we are the branches. Without him, we can produce nothing. We can produce no fruit without him. But waterer and planter alike, we will receive a reward for our labor in accordance to it. Meaning he who sows sparingly, this is biblical, he who sows sparingly reaps sparingly. He who sows bountifully also reaps bountifully. So you have to ask yourself, how big do you want your harvest to be? And this is more than just monetarily. This is more than just how much product you want. This is more than a physical. If you can just get off the physical for a second and get into your spiritual, because God wants you to be rich. I'm making a video about this soon. I just filmed it. But God wants you to be rich, but not just in your worldly bank account. But he also wants you to store your treasures in heaven. Biblical. Jesus tells us this, to store your treasures in heaven, because where your treasure lies, your heart, where your treasure is, your heart lies also. Wherever your treasure is, your heart is there too. Which is also why Jesus tells us that we can't serve both God and money. You can't serve two masters. You have to choose. It's crazy how we can get all the way here by just sowing a little seed. But just as powerful as sowing a seed is, Jesus even compares the kingdom of heaven to a mustard seed, letting you know how powerful just sowing a seed truly is. So yes, sow the seed, but when you sow the seed, don't forget to water. Don't forget to treat it with as much nourishment and compassion and grace, meaning give it time, knowing that it has to also work against all of its odds so that it can too grow. You are the same in that regard, that you too must adapt to the soil that you've been placed into, that you must adjust and learn how to navigate your own environment. You too are living and experiencing life for the first time. So give yourself grace as much as you give the seed that you're sowing grace. And then note that it's very good, so that the fruit that it's producing will be in like manner, will also be very good. Man, sow the seed, but don't forget to water. If you made it to the end of this video, I just want to speak not just for this video in general, but just for everything that's growing, for the community that we're growing in this, and for all the like-minded individuals, the Christ-like individuals, or those who just want to further themselves. I just appreciate all the support, all the comments, how we are growing steadily, and it's just been amazing to see. The outcome is always inconsistent. We're hitting, some videos are doing numbers and some videos just have more comments, and people are, man, I'm just grateful to just show up and let everything else just produce whatever it's meant to produce. I'm just sowing the seed, watering it, but God is the one that's making it grow. Easiest way to sum it up. So I appreciate y'all. If you like this video, act in accordance and like the video. If you don't, it's okay, because I do. Hey, maybe not this one, but I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.